All right, viewers. With that, in fact, let's take a look at how the foreign media is actually covering this visit. This will give us a perspective and help us understand how other media organizations across the globe are in fact looking at Marco Rubio's first maiden visit to India. All right, let's look at US media coverage. This is the Washington Examiner. Let's look at the headline first. It talks about Rubio's tall task in New Delhi visit: protect religious freedom or risk lasting damage. So they have entirely focused not on trade, not on economics. They have focused on how Rubio is coming here to fix and protect religious freedom. That's why, in fact, he went to Kolkata first. Remember that Marco Rubio is an avid, he follows the Christianity faith. And over here they have mentioned that he has a tall task to do, because there is lasting damage that can be done to the relations between the two countries if the Indian leaders do not set the bill aside for, they're talking about a particular bill. During the monsoon session, they're talking about how the Indian Parliament is set to consider a bill amending India's Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, and if adopted, the bill would sharply expand the ability of the Indian state to seize the property and assets of groups that receive foreign funding, the vast majority of these being Christian churches and charities such as hospitals and schools. So, in fact, this is something that the US Examiner seems to be focusing on, that in the monsoon session the Indian Parliament is said to discuss this particular bill, maybe even pass it, that restricts and keeps us, keeps all such charities under scanner which receive foreign funding. Obviously, we are doing it to protect the interests of the people, but this is what US Washington Examiner has in fact put in focus. Let's look at Breitbart, where the headline is that with Rubio visit, India asks how it fits in Trump worldview. So obviously Trump just visited China, and right after that we have the Secretary of State Marco Rubio visiting India. So India is obviously questioning how it fits in the Trump worldview, and that's what they have in fact stated, that Trump has shifted that playbook, hailing the reception as he received last week on a state visit to China, despite limited tangible outcomes. So they are obviously talking about how this compares to the China visit, where India will see itself standing. All right, let's look at Newsmax world, where Rubio heads to NATO meeting as angst over Trump grows. So he is obviously looking at, we are looking at how Marco Rubio will be attending a Quad meeting right now, not a NATO meeting, and I believe that this is something that the US also wants to focus on. It was originally to counter China, but now they are looking at more trade, we are looking at more discussions of defense. So let's move on to US Democrat media coverage, which is foreign policy. So it's a leaning publication that we are looking at, and Rubio aims to reset US-India ties. Remember that US and India have been facing some sort of a strain in their relations over the past 6-7 months with US President Donald Trump's various sanctions and tariffs and whatnot. So obviously Marco Rubio is in India. He will seek to reset the ties to a greater level, enhance cooperation, enhance bilateral trade, enhance obviously a lot of economics between the two nations. Let's look at Pakistan media coverage. News International. How is Pakistan looking at Rubio's visit to India? US eyes India energy market after Iran conflict disrupts supplies. So they have focused on the energy angle, because obviously right before he left for India, Rubio had stated that US wants to sell as much energy as it can to India. So that's the focus that Pakistani media seems to be looking at. Let's look at Dawn, another publication from Pakistan. where they have in fact looked at the soft power that is in fact there. Rickshaws in India's capital get Trump makeover. So they have in fact put out that picture. You can also see Happy Birthday America, 250 years old, those posters that are there across auto rickshaws on the new national capitals region. So this is something that we are in fact looking at, and this is how Pakistan media coverage or Dawn is stating.